Hey guys, today I am doing some cuttings of Caryopteris. And Caryopteris, if you're not familiar with it, is a beautiful fall blooming plant that has these blue colored blooms all along the stems. It is a really good thing in the fall for pollinators to come and enjoy, and they just look spectacular, especially when planted along in a border area. This particular variety is called Longwood Blue, and I believe it was named after the Longwood Gardens, or was developed in Longwood Gardens up in the Northeast. But it does very well here in Tennessee. But I took some cuttings today from a plant at my mom's house, and they were actually from plants that I gave her from cuttings from plants in our old garden, and now we're bringing them back to our new garden. So it's kind of interesting how you can do so many things with these cuttings and just keep it going, make clones of them, copies, backup copies, and it's really cool. So my idea for this is I'm going to put them together in kind of a little hedgerow area, probably aligning one of our pathways in this spot. But Longwood Blue Caryopteris, or any Caryopteris for that matter, is probably best done with a nodal cutting. And let's get the camera moved over here so you can see this a little better. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my 4-inch cut little pots here, nursery pots that we've saved over the years, put in my medium, which in this case I'm using a core and sand 50-50% mixture. And you don't have to have rooting hormone for these to work out well, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a little dip in it because that always feels like a little bit of an insurance policy to me. And I'll slide that down until it sticks really well. And sometimes you're going to want to put a couple of nodes under the surface of your medium. I'm going to trim that here, and I've got a side leaf I'm going to take off. A couple more side leaves I'll just trim. And actually I'm going to take one more of these off because they're very wilty at the moment. They have not been cut for very long, and I've kept them in a moist towel here. But the sooner you can get them stuck, the better. So we'll go on and do the same thing. And I'll probably put these a little tighter, like that. I'll probably do about 6 or so in each pot. I've got quite a few here. And again, we'll trim it, trim. And on this one, I might do something a little different. If you see here how the end is a little bit more floppy, I'm just going to go on and trim off the end, snip the leaf in half, and do a cutting that looks like this. So I've got 1, 2, 3 nodes. I cut off the top node because it looked like it was probably going to drain too many resources. Sometimes a cutting, I find the ideal cutting for perennials to be a little bit on the stiff side. Not so much that it won't bend or anything. It needs to kind of bend a little, but you are able to hold it firmly without it actually like flopping over on one end or anything like that. And that works pretty good. So we'll do that. And it's funny, you have to kind of look at cuttings individually and assess what each one is going to be best for as you go and make your cuttings. So on this one here, I'm going to trim off one of those leaves and then cut the other leaf in half. And then at the bottom, I'm going to trim off all this little area down here, just go below a node. Notice these are very kind of thin. I mean, maybe they're about 1/8 of an inch diameter, something like that at most. It might even be a 1/16. Should be able to actually get about 9 in this little cut, this little pot. These will root in about 6 weeks or so. They should be good. And if you saw that one there, I took off the tip of that as well. The terminal bud, a lot of times when you cut it off, is very beneficial to a cutting. Oh, let's talk about this for a second. Check out this area right down here. This is a secondary branch, and this trash fine. So check out this part right here. This here came off of another branch where this emerged this way, and then this was coming this direction, and then there was another side branch. In this case, this is what you would call like a heel, and we're going to just go on and cut that. We're going to use that for the cutting. We're not actually cutting it, that was the wrong word. So we'll stick this here like that, and we'll stick the heel of the cutting in here like this. And heels, that area where you've got that spot where you've got multiple nodes joining together, are great because they have a little bit more of the growth hormones that these plants naturally need. So we'll snip, do another one here, another one there, And I'll take one of these larger ones because we've got some nice smaller leaves starting at the very tip of this one. And it's a little floppier, but I think this one will be all right because we've reduced the leaf area enough. And we'll stick it. There we got 6. I've got 5 more cuttings that I can do here. Alright, on this one, I've got another heel, and up here, I've got a lot of floppiness at the top. So I'm going to trim it down to the bigger leaves, and then trim off these other bigger leaves, and cut them a little bit. Reduce that transpiration when you can. You don't always need to, but it's good to do it to help ensure that the cutting stays alive longer. And again, it's very floppy at the tip, so we will trim it. And here I've got some really close nodes. Close nodes are great because they have a shorter area in between them and more rooting hormone or growth hormone inside those little nodes there. So we're going to cut this off right here. And we'll stick it that way. I am going to squeeze these in a little tighter than I probably should, and I'm not going to do this one here because I think it just probably won't work. It's a little small, but I will trim this up and we'll squeeze them in here because I don't want to have too many pots going around. I'm going to take the bigger leaves off, and then I'm going to trim off this terminal bud right here. Try to do it very carefully with my fingernails without busting them. There we go. So we've got those 2 leaves left, and we'll go on and stick it. And we'll start another hole here. So originally I said I was going to do 6 in here, but it looks like I've got 10. So just like that. So originally I was going to do about 6 in here. Turns out I'm doing 10. Was able to get them all fit in because they are small cuttings. The next thing I'll do is I'll put them in I'll put some water in this, and then put it in a flat where it can go underneath some lights for a little while. I'm trying to keep it in a climate controlled area. I don't have a greenhouse up yet to do it here on the property, so I'm just doing it under grow lights like you would seedlings and stuff for right now. So, and that's Caryopteris for you. It's a very easy plant to get rooted, and it looks amazing in the fall. It is what you would categorize as a sub-shrub. It's kind of in the middle between a shrub and a perennial. But they are gorgeous plants. They grow well. They are deer resistant, and so I always like to have some of those around, especially in an area like we're in where we've got a lot of deer. Hey guys, so it has been 3 weeks just about since I did these Caryopteris cuttings, and I started to notice something really cool. They are starting to get some roots down here on the very bottom. So let me bring that a little closer to the camera so you can see they're starting to come out of the holes right here. And so we're going to check them and see if we can get these potted up. So here's what we have. These are Longwood Blue Caryopteris, Blue Mist Spirea. Let's check them out. I am just going to kind of break up the soil clump a little bit on the sides, just real carefully. And then I'm going to pull them out as a clump. And I'll set that aside here so we can see what we've got. We definitely have some roots coming out of the bottom of the clump right here and here, probably on those sides. Not all of them may have rooted. I think there's another one right here. And so we'll just gently take this apart. It is wet. I've recently watered it. And that's a good thing to do when you're trying to break these up because they really come apart much better when they are wet. All right, so here's the first 2. You can see there's some good roots forming on the bottom of each of them. I'll look at these next 2. All right, this one just has some started roots. Probably we'll go ahead and get these planted up. This one doesn't seem to have anything coming off it. The cutting still looks good, so we could probably still stick it again and give it a little more time. Let's move over to the other half. Ooh, this one looks nice. This one's got a really good set of roots all around it, ready to be potted up for sure. That makes 4 so far. And then here's a smaller one. It's got some roots formed. There's another one. Not as many roots on this one here. We've just got a few, but still pretty good. Percentages keep going up. This one here has got some roots on it. You can see right there and there. Ready to be potted. And this one does not. Right there have anything, although the leaves still look really good, so we could possibly stick it back in the pot again. And this one does have some roots forming down at the bottom right here and on the side too. So those are all coming out of some nodal areas on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these chunks of sand and core back into the container. Get as much of it in there as I can. And then I'll get ready to pot up these other Caryopteris. And I'll just go ahead and I'll stick these back in where they can potentially continue to root. So there's 2 there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7 that did root. So basically out of 9 cuttings, 7 of them have already rooted in 3 weeks. I think that's a pretty good percentage. And I've already got some of these pots made up. These were for some vegetable plants that I was doing, but they'll do just fine for these Caryopteris plants. We'll go ahead and get them potted up real simply. Just make a little hole in there, big enough for the roots to go in without too much difficulty. You don't want to push anything when you're potting up a cutting. You want to kind of give those roots plenty of gentleness. Now obviously an important step after you've potted up your plants is to go ahead and give it a little bit of water. So I'm just giving it some water to drink. These are done in the core pots, but you could use any kind of plastic container if you've got something laying around. I just happen to have the core pots sitting in my soil mixing tray, and so I just decided to use them. Great thing about them is I can go ahead and plant them directly in the ground when their roots are big enough. I don't have to worry about it. So next steps, I'm going to keep this in the shade for a little while until they've got some really good roots around them, and then I can plant them outdoors in a sunny location. Caryopteris loves full sun, but whenever you have cuttings, you want to make sure that you are starting them off little by little and just acclimating them to the natural sunshine. So I'm going to keep them in the shade, and then I'll gradually move them to locations with a little bit more sunlight until I feel comfortable that they can take the full sun of our southern summers. So to sum everything up, Caryopteris cuttings can be taken from mid-spring probably through about midsummer. Anytime after midsummer, you're going to be cutting off the blooms that you would be enjoying in the fall. And so you probably don't want to do that. Also, when you start to get your cuttings taken later and later in the summer, they won't put on as many roots and won't grow as strong of a root system before winter weather comes. And that's really important to have a good established root system before the cold season sets in. Now, as it turns out, I actually miscounted a minute ago when I was counting my cuttings, and there's actually 8 here that successfully rooted, 2 that had not rooted yet, and so far, no failures. So that is a really good rate. So right now I've rooted 80% of them, and I'm just waiting on these last 2 to root. So it's a very good plant, very easy plant for you to propagate. So guys, I hope this was interesting and helpful to you. If it was, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time here on Growing the Home Garden. Thanks for watching.